Hello guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. So today we are a very special guest and Satyarth, thank you for joining me today once again. So guys, this person is the one I was following from a couple of years, and I have been inspired by his journey, and today I want my followers, my student to listen to his journey, how he's working, how he's helping ACCA students and ACCA family across the globe. So, welcome, James.
You need to know about ACCA in the UK. Well, I'm really putting myself out there now where I'm going to get asked about ACCA by two qualified members, Palak and Satyarth. So let's get the ball rolling. Palak, what's on the agenda for today? What would you like to know about ACCA in the UK?
So, hello guys. So today we have an opportunity to talk to James, and thank you, James, for giving us time. So today's agenda is to know about ACCA, ACCA job opportunities in UK, salary packages, and at what roles students are and qualifieds are working there.
Yeah, I mean, the ball is in your court. Satyarth, is there anything on your mind to help ACCA students who may be wanting to work in the UK, study in the UK?
So yes, James, I wanted to talk about there are two agendas where I would like to talk to you about. First of all, what do you do, and how do you do it, and it how your how did you get into this?
Yeah.
Secondly, what I want to ask is what are the job opportunities that are available? And there is one small thing that I want you to also put some light on, that what do you want students to, how do you want them to take their journey forward, because it's ultimately it's their journey, it has to be unique. So what do you advise them on? So these are the three things that would like to know from you.
Lovely. Well, more than happy to help. Well, first of all, I'm a senior lecturer at the University of Lincoln, UK, where I teach on the MBA programs and then also modules which are accredited by ACCA. So my journey, that students who are sort of watching this now will be in that position, was I took the university route where I did examinations and got a degree that entitled me to some exemptions. And then from graduating, I went and worked in America for 3 months at a summer camp. I got a bit of international experience working at a summer camp out there in a business office. And then this will be the key bit, which I try to encourage as many students to get involved in, which is a study contract on there, where I went to an employer, I signed a contract to be with them for a minimum of 3 years, and they paid for my studies. They paid for my actual wages on there as well. They gave me lots of good experience that you need to complete your ACCA. And it's a win-win, really, that I didn't have any costs bared on me. The only cost to me was my time, which I needed to actually accumulate the experience. And then after finishing my ACCA, I then went on to do a master's. I now work at a university, which I've been at for 8 years. And now I help students out around the world, sort of sharing my expertise and knowledge to really sort of be that person where I never had anyone on YouTube that I could send a comment to and they would reply. So hence, I used to go around with my books from house to house when I moved and thought, one day I'll put some of those ideas on the internet. And then I did.
Yeah.
And then the rest is history. And I get to talk to you guys now.
Yeah, absolutely. It's amazing to know your journey.
Cool.
And one of the things I would like to again reiterate that I've said like tons of times, that when we started with ACCA, we had no one, and if you talk about India, there was really no knowledge. The only question we used to ask, are we going to get a job or not? But now the scenario has totally changed. ACCAs are well accepted. They are well, respected members of a body. ACCA holds seminars. We are working with the government of India as well. So now the situation has changed. Now you've got mentors like James, and now you've got mentors like Palak and myself, and we were putting everything out there. So I mean, definitely do like, share, comment, and subscribe to this our channels. It will be great, and it'll be and do press the bell icon so that every notification gets to you, that you are able to look at it.
Lovely. I mean, should we talk about jobs? I mean, Palak, what are the main queries that you get from students about maybe jobs, working in the UK, working overseas?
Yeah.
What are the usual ones?
the main and the major area is that, ma'am, that are we getting jobs, in which field, how much they will pay us after being qualified. So these are the main areas of questions which are, flooded in my LinkedIn, flooded in my, Instagram page. So that's why we want to talk with you about UK, because I'm from the Punjab area, and there is a trend of Indians moving to UK.
Yeah,
You must have seen Punjabis coming to,
yeah,
UK. So that's why I just want that student, if they are moving, that's very great. They must know some, good background by which they can move to UK, and they can work there in a prestigious qualification with the prestigious degree.
yeah. Again, it comes down to what route does a student from overseas want to take. Now, some students go the university route. They might do a 1-year
Yeah,
master's. They may do an undergraduate
yeah,
program just to get their foot in the door, that they can see what the UK is like, if it's for them.
yeah,
And then that is where I see the difference in quite a lot of students, where are they really proactive on social media like LinkedIn? Are they building connections on there? Or are they utilizing resources at the university and professional contacts to actually
yeah,
build up their CV? The key thing is experience and putting yourself out there. Internships, placements, any small bits of experience. That is what employers are going to be looking for, to say, I trust James. He came in, he did some work for us here, was really reliable, turned up on time, was really nice with the clients. All these sort of things add up to you being employable. Now, what lots of students fall into is they just think, if I just do the exams and I've got no experience, I should be paid a ridiculous amount of money because I'm now qualified exam-wise. I'm afraid it doesn't work like that, because employers need to know that you're going to do the job. And that's where, if you can study and gain experience at the same time, it's a win-win on both sides.
yeah,
Yeah. So, James, I would like to come in and very, categorically, I want to ask you this question, which, might shake a few, this thing. Tell me how much does an affiliate, a member, and a student gets as, a salary package in UK? I
Very,
mean,
very,
any
very good
range.
question. Yeah, it's an arrange. Well, in the UK, it's worth noting, and I don't mind saying this on record at all, because any accountant in the UK knows this, is that if you are based down south in the UK, in London, or in some of the major cities, like you've got Manchester on there, Bristol, sort of Cambridge, all these sort of ones spring to mind, you're going to get a higher salary as a result, because the cost of living to be in these places is a lot higher. Okay, so that's the
yeah,
bottom line on it on there. Now, that's not to say you can't get a high salary in places that are more an up and coming. If you want to have a look at this online, you've got Leeds is very up and coming. Lots of accountants are moving to a place called Leeds. Leicester, Nottingham, Birmingham's also in there. Really good for commuters. Milton Keynes. These places are a lot lower cost-wise, and you can also gain a higher salary, because the other thing to note down is you've got to ask yourself the question, are you going to work in practice or are you going to work in industry? Now, lots of students ask me this as to what's the difference. Well, in practice, that is where you've got the big four, or the top four practice firms, KPMG, PwC, all the rest. And then that goes all the way down to, you could work for a small little firm like I used to do, 25 employees, and you do everything from the accounts, tax preparation, VAT, payroll. You get involved in everything on there. In industry, on the other hand, it's you go work for VW, you go work for BMW on there. You could go work for Coca-Cola in their accounts department on there. And it's working in industry. You're going to be part of a big team on there, and traditional places like I've talked about, Milton Keynes, these sort of places on there. Now, traditionally in the past, if you were in industry, you tended to get paid a bit more than you did in practice. However, if you get onto, say, a big four or a top 10 grad scheme, again, it depends where you're going to be located for how much you're going to get paid. So I'll come back to your point, Satyarth, as to down south. So if you're a student, tiny bit of experience, but you're going to be studying and working at the same time, and it's down south in London, could be sort of Bristol way, I'd say probably £30,000 minimum on there. That's pounds, so you might have to do the conversion on there on a bit of Google.
Yeah.
But that's with, again, it's a very competitive sort of way of getting on those schemes for it as a student. Now, if you're an affiliate, where, again, I'm assuming you've passed all the exams, but you need the experience, well, that is where you could fall short as to you've got to have some added value to say you've got to have something to bring to the table, because otherwise an employer is just going to say you're overqualified on here. I can go and hire someone who's 21, fresh out of university, and I can mold them whilst they're doing their exams into how they are training. So again, it depends on the employer and it depends on the person. If you're a really proactive person and you're an affiliate and you're exam qualified but lacking experience, 25,000, I would say, because you're still having to get that experience. You're not fully qualified yet, and you're going to be making mistakes. But for the employer, they won't have to pay for your exams. They can still mold you, they can still shape you, but you've got to sell it to them on there. Now, coming on to your final question, Satyarth, as to qualified ACCA members now. So again, I'll take London as an example. If you're working down in London, newly qualified, 24 years old, 3 years experience after you've just been working at the Big Four, you're going to be on minimum 45 to 55,000 pounds. But again, remember the cost of living on there, it could be even more, slightly on there for it. But if you're working in other areas, I work in Lincolnshire, you've got Leicestershire, it depends on where you are. But I would say a minimum you would be expecting probably at least 35 to 40,000 pounds per year. And that's also with, you might get Christmas bonuses, you might have share option schemes, depending on what sort of company you work for, other perks and benefits, because after when you finish studying, you should be taking on more and more responsibility. Maybe some travel could be thrown in there as well, company cars. It's a really difficult question to pinpoint one that fits all. But it comes down to the person, really, Satyarth, as to what value do they add to the company, what experience do they have, and also how flexible are they going to be and adaptable to the workplace that they're in. So does that give you a good insight as to a few figures to help you out?
Definitely. And one of the questions that I want, because it's a very personal thing. I got admitted to one of the university in Hertfordshire, Hatfield. So can someone do this, that they're working in London, having that big pay and traveling 20 minutes every day from Hatfield, where the cost would be lesser?
Yeah, lots of people do it now. The train system in the UK, you can live in somewhere like Lincolnshire, Retford, Peterborough. You get lots of different places around. Stevenage is another one. You get a train directly into King's Cross at Pancras, get the tube and go to your office, assuming you need to go into the office, where some employers now will only expect you to be in the office 2-3 days a week on there. Again, it depends on, are you willing to pay the price for that? I walk to work every day and it's lovely and I enjoy what I do and I don't see it as a job. So it's a case of I just help people out. Whereas some people have got it in their minds, tunnel vision. I want to work at PwC on the Embankment in central London on there. Okay, well, it's very expensive to live in central London, especially if you're coming from overseas. Maybe you're going to have to house share. Then you've got the cost of living in London, maybe living outskirts. But you could also get your employer. These are the things that you can negotiate in your contracts that some employers, if you put it across them, may actually cover your train fares on there. They may pay for your season ticket as either as an allowable deduction off your payroll on there to help you out, or they might just include it because we really want you to come work for us. If you don't ask the question, you're not going to get it, are you?
Right.
Okay. So one question is that in which profiles normally they get job there? So, because, students used to ask me that, ma'am, in which profile we get the job and the most, demanding in the industry.
So I take it, Palak, just to be clear for the viewers, you mean by profile? Do you mean by the job role on there, or?
Yes, yes, job role like
Not
taxation, accounts, finance, which profiles?
Yeah, in the UK, we're recording this January 2024. In the UK, there is always a demand for auditors all the time on there,
Okay.
located in a variety of different places. Lots of people tend to work in audit for 3-4 years, and then they go, I want a bit of a change. I want to go work in taxation, advisory. If you like audit, there will always be a demand for it on there. But then that's not to say I did financial reporting and taxation. Those skills, along with AI that's coming into practice a lot more now, are still in demand along with advisory. In terms of the most in demand, it comes down to your sort of flexibility that if you just want to be in one particular area, then okay, that's probably just you're going to focus and specialize on tax and stay in that particular area. But you find lots of ACCA members and students, they go, I want a bit of flexibility in my career. I just want to see where I'm going on it. And they try different areas and then they specialize on there. It depends on the individual. Some people are just, I want to do tax and I will not budge. But then some students and professionals maybe want to give a try of wealth management or advisory. And if you work at a big firm, you can do things on rotation. You can go do some training on other areas. You might want to take on some leadership roles where you do less of the accounts prep. It all comes down to you and what you enjoy doing and where you add the most value in the firm.
Yeah.
right. And James, I mean, you've been amazing all this while giving us all the information. So one more thing that if I've got, like, say, if I'm just a fresher, 3 years, so you're saying around 40 to 45,000 pounds I can expect. And as I go ahead in my life and my journey, or in my professional journey, should I be expecting 100,000 pounds, or should I not be expecting 100,000 pounds
Yeah, so
ever?
again, you don't have to worry about asking for these, Satyarth. I don't mind. I speak to
No,
lots of accountants.
this is this is something that people are actually thinking that
Yeah.
uh, because in India, like 100,000 pounds is a very big thing.
Oh yeah,
But
100, yeah. It is in the UK, Satyarth.
yeah,
Just to set the record and the benchmark straight, that 40 to 45,000 is if you've been on a graduate scheme or you've worked at the Big Four and you've been completing your exams, or top 10 accounting firm, for example, or in industry in a reasonably large city. And that means that you've probably had a bit of university experience. You've got at least 3 years of experience under your belt on there as well. And then you're newly qualified on there. So it's all signed off, no issues. Then an employer would want to keep hold of you. And it's also worth noting, students who become part qualified on their journey, and also when they become fully qualified, also have these in their contracts to say, if I become part qualified or I pass an exam, I might get a £500 or £1,000 pay rise on there. Or if I become qualified, I get a £5,000 salary increase for doing it. It's because the demands and the skills and your expertise of being in that firm. Now, once you get qualified, and again, using our example of in London or in a major city in the UK, you've got that experience, you're on 40 to 45,000, you know the firm, you know what you're doing. Imagine if an employer had to replace you on there. They'd then have to go through the training process again. They'd lose your expertise. And that is a decision which the individual has to take as to what they want to do in their career. Can they see that there's progression in there? Or do they say, right, I've done a few years working at KPMG, really enjoyed it there, but there's a new advisory role or consulting role working at Baker Tilly that they're willing to pay me another £10,000. I might shift from one to another. There's nothing holding you unless you've got it in your contract that you have to stay. It comes down, Satyarth, to the desire of the individual. If you want to earn £100,000 a year, you've got to become £100,000 a year person on there. It doesn't just come like that, like click of the fingers, I'm qualified, give me £100,000.
Yeah.
You're gonna get laughed at there. You've got to show your worth to the firm, and whether that's you progressing through the hierarchy and taking on more responsibility, or what some people find is like they start families or they have other commitments and they go, I quite like what I'm doing. I've got a good work-life balance. I know where I stand with my manager and stuff like that. I'm okay at this level. So again, it
Right.
comes down to the person. Hopefully that gives you a
Absolutely.
bit of it on there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it does give us some perspective. Palak, all yours.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that was all about it by me. Any tips you want to give to students or affiliates who are like in searching of job opportunities? In what ways they can find good job opportunities over there?
Yeah, again, it's first things first. Students have got to be on LinkedIn with a profile top to bottom that is up to date. It's your 24-hour CV. If you're a recruiter at any firm, the first place they're going to look for you is on LinkedIn. The next place they're going to look for you is on social media, on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, anything like that. And I've been to events where I've spoken to top employers, people who are recruiting, and they've said, like, we would not hire this person because they were fantastic at the interview, went through all the time, but their social media was public and they were out having a wonderful time online and all this sort of stuff. So do we really want that associated with our firm? You've got to be careful on these sort of things. So LinkedIn's a very good one. You've got to get proactive. So many students just expect it just to fall into their hands, when in actual fact, it's a really competitive market that's only going to get more competitive. So you've got to stand out. What I used to do is I used to call up firms. I used to drop messages to people on LinkedIn, all these sort of things, because I knew that no other person is going to be willing to put in that time and effort like I was. I used to go to network. I still do. I still go to networking events at 6, 7 in the morning. I still reply to messages on LinkedIn. You can do free courses online. You've got the Farage.com, very, very good. ACCX on there, free courses. You can do some on Google as well. But loads of stuff out there to get yourself more proactive and to say, this is what I'm willing to do. This is what the normal person's willing to do. This is why you should hire me on
Yeah,
there.
right.
Right. And, talking about AI, and as you said, James, the skill of, learning about AI and learning how to give it the right prompts and learning how to, maneuver the AI is something that I think is going to be a very important skill.
Mhm.
It's going to be very critical going forward.
Yep.
That how you maneuver AI, because, I'll tell you, I have had great friends because I knew AI. So, and I've had great favors because I knew AI. So I don't want to disclose it at the moment, but yes, I've got great favors because I knew AI.
Yeah. I mean, we have to be crystal clear on record that AI is already here. It's already in play, and
Yeah.
firms are going to be only utilizing it more and more and more. Now, that's
Right.
where
Yeah.
you say to yourself, like you're saying, Satyarth, am I going to embrace it, adopt it, put it into my knowledge? Am I going to go to the webinars to understand it more? Or am I going to be very rigid and say, no, I'm better than that? Anyone who's used ChatGPT or they've used, say, ask the public on there, these are great AI tools. You go, wow, this is
Yeah.
amazing. And it's
Absolutely.
only going to be embedded within accounting practices, working industry, submitting tax returns. The AI can now computate it. But what it can't do, and coming back to your point, Satyarth, is AI currently can't do is you liaising with a client and speaking with them to say, how's the business been going this year? Are you expecting a higher turnover, lower turnover? Any problems
Yeah.
on there? Have you got all your records together? And then that's where you populate it into the AI. There are some other softwares out there that will take the client's information and then will populate it itself. Again, if you're dealing with someone who's a bit more complicated, a few other bits and bobs on there, that's where your specialist knowledge comes into play. So if it was me, and I do this anyway because I deliver talks on AI because I think it's great. It is a case of you just got to, the more time you spend on it, and the more knowledge you understand,
Yeah.
and the potential AI softwares out there, how it's implemented, you're only going to stand out to an employer that they'll go, he knows what he's on about, and if he comes to work for us, he'll actually adopt it on there as well.
Right.
Yeah.
And one more thing,
Yeah.
for all the students, I mean, across the world, not just India or anywhere, across the world, guys, start using AI for your CV. It's high time now.
Yeah.
People will go way ahead, and they're using it. So you also embrace it, use
Yeah.
it, like James said. You have to embrace the change
With,
every
with,
time.
yeah, with the caveat as well as to make sure your CV is actually what
Yes.
you do, because otherwise you'll get found
Right.
out at an interview. Someone who's competent and who's worked in the practice for a number of years, if they read on your CV you're an AI expert or you're a fintech specialist or you've done this, that, they will question you at an interview. And if you can't back it up, then you're just going to be hung out to dry on that.
Yeah.
But
For
Right.
example, I'll tell you that one of the things is, for example, if you've done AR reconciliations, right? You've done it in your lives, right? The JD or the job description demands it, but you've not modified your CV according to it. You're not going to get shortlisted. So that's when I say that use the knowledge of AI, right?
Mm,
Use that knowledge. AI is
Yeah.
not nothing out of the box. It's the knowledge of humans
mm.
stored for hundreds of years, and that's what it is using, right?
Super. Well, it looks like we're going to run out of time in a second, guys. So thank you
Yeah.
so much for all the
Thank you,
questions. I
James.
hope it's helped. Anyone who's watching this, feel free to leave a comment below if you've got any questions. And I hope your journey 2024 and onwards, this little video is going to help propel you in your career on there. So thank